but I think he's
What?
gonna loss. After a loss, but I think he's going to make a special play. He's going to spin out of some stuff, throw it up in the air. Great play. We're going to be talking about it. But
JJ, you must not work on Mondays. We don't talk about the team that loses. We are on to the next.
But you're going to talk about that play, though. You're going to talk about that play.
Okay, we'll see.
I'll go with a guy that has not dropped a pass all year.
Oh!
115 receptions.
That's
you know
big time.
Hopkins is going to get a ton of targets.
That's big
DeAndre
time. No
Hopkins
drops.
is going to get his chances, has no drops all year. Just throw in the vicinity. This guy's going to, what is that, between the legs? What is this?
How much would you have loved to have played with him?
I mean, we missed each other by a little bit, by about 10 years.
I don't understand. I don't think people understand how special that is. Like, as a receiver, that's a goal to not drop a ball. It's impossible. It's never going to happen. And for him to have 115 grabs, 0 drop, that is special. That's better than any Pro Bowl, All-Pro. That's special. As a wide receiver, you pride yourself on catching the football.
He even dropped the
That is
non-completions,
special,
the ones that didn't even count, out of bounds or whatever. He caught everything, like a fly net.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about D-Hop. We're going to be talking about Russell Wilson. Who do you think?
You guys showing big plays and all that in highlights. My guy didn't make a lot of highlights this season, Trey Burton, kind of missing a little bit, but I expect him because he is one of the originators of the Philly special, okay, with the Philadelphia Eagles, and guess who they're playing? They're playing the Bears. Guess who Trey Burton plays for? He plays for the Bears. So they ran the play first week, Philly did, against Atlanta, and then the Bears ran it. Now, he was kind of like the handoff guy. He wasn't the passer, but he was involved, and you see him right there. Look for a Philly in this game right here. He's going to be a part of a big play, Trey Burton.
He talked about that, though, after they ran that play in Chicago. He said he was too nervous. They kind of they changed the play because of that. You think he's not going to be too nervous to do it in the playoffs against his own team?
He better not be. It's a big game. You're going to be nervous at home if you do.
We need you.
Yeah,
Matt
they need him.
definitely dialing something up.
Don't dress up if you're scared.
That's too easy.
Stay over
For a play call, you got to do that. They'll dial something.
There are a few teams sitting at home this weekend that are watching these games. How do you think that they're watching them? Are they? You asked Robert Woods about if there was anyone that he was rooting for that he wanted to see. Do you think he was lying when he told you no?
Oh, he absolutely was lying because I was like this. Ooh, yeah, I don't want to play Drew Brees. I'd rather play Mitchell Trubisky.
Already
Come on,
defeated.
Bears. You know,
He was already defeated.
Willie
But
might
what
have
happens if
everybody.
Drew Brees
It's not
wins?
defeated,
Exactly.
But I'm
What if
just
Drew
saying,
wins? You're like, dang.
if you're able to get somewhat a weaker opponent and get to the Super Bowl, hey, that's how it happens.
But you don't always know if the weaker opponent is going to be weak
And
enough.
you're watching schematically, you're like, okay, I got to make sure. I don't want to see that blitz. Like, I don't want to see that. Let's go play the other team.
You rooted for Mike Vick, and what happened when you guys played them?
You know,
That's true. That's true. We wanted
I'm
to
just
visit
saying.
opponent, and they came in and smacked us. That's true.
You know, if I'm Robert Woods, I don't want to see Khalil Mack and them coming to town.
Hey, that's not
Is
our
there anyone
mindset.
you do want to see, though?
No.
That's not the
Not
Patriot
if I'm
way.
not if I'm
Patriot
the
way.
Rams.
We didn't care, man.
Patriot
We was
way.
animals. Come on, bring it
That's why they
on.
won all the time.
The question is, y'all got to come see us.
I care.
That's why you guys won some seasons. The other ones in LA this week enjoying a bye week. Howard will be looking for his first playoff win in his first playoff game against the defending Super Bowl champion Eagles. We've got analytics expert Cynthia Freeland here with some thoughts on that game, having done a deep dive on the numbers and turned up a bit of a red flag for the Bears. What about their offense concerns you?
Well, a lack of passing diversity. We see a really big focus on short passes and not a lot on those deep passes that can really get those chunk yards. So you see Mitchell Trubisky on first and second down combined about 50% of the time running, 50% of the time passing. Those are short passes, 10 yards or less, where he's completed 84% of his passes in his past 4 games since returning from injury. That's a high number, but we don't see those deep downfield throws that can really get you those chunk yardage if you need it or if you have to come from behind.
What about the Eagles? What do you see as the differentiators for them here?
Well, obviously we know the Bears have a good D-line, but so do the Eagles. The pressures that they bring from their defensive front, obviously Fletcher Cox is the name that stands out the most in this one, but that's a big difference maker. We see them get the second most pressure without using blitz in the NFL this season. That's a huge plus. However, it does not hold up on their back end. Their secondary is kind of the biggest weakness. Now they have had a ton of injuries, and their lack of ability to adapt to different passing concepts they've seen this season has been a really big problem, and it's a huge difference maker. Look back through their games. They've had 12 games that have been decided by 7 or fewer points. They went 6-6 in those games, so they really need to play complementary football in order to win. So they need that secondary to really hold up and help them with those pressures up front.
Eagles, in your model, the lowest probability of all the teams left in the playoffs on the AFC or NFC side to go on and win the Super Bowl, though the Seahawks' chances are really low as well, lower than anyone on the AFC side as well. Why is that?
So when you look at what the Seahawks have done, you've seen them be really susceptible to rushes early in the season, and then they've kind of gone to passes later in the season. So you've seen kind of inconsistent results from their defense holding up. And you've also seen their O-line has a really big problem in pass protection. Russell Wilson plays awesome. He's elite. There's no doubt there. I'm taking nothing away from him. But at some point, with that O-line, you have to protect him in passing situations, and that has not been an area of consistency for them at all.
Just reach a point of diminishing returns, right?
Yeah.
Lots more on all of this at NFL.com/Freeland. And know this as you read her article. Week 1, she predicted a Saints-Chiefs Super Bowl. We don't know if they're going to go to the Super Bowl, but they're the top seeds, so she's clearly onto something. And still ahead, the best play from Wild Card Weekend last season.
Technique when he tackled the quarterback. There's nothing more than we like than hitting the quarterback,
Nice
David.
and soft, nice and soft.
Nice and soft,
There
but
we
it's
go.
the way we landed. He didn't bear all his weight, his almost 300 pounds or whatever it
Yeah,
is,
inside. That's
on
good.
top of the quarterback. He used his shoulder pads. He didn't use his helmet, and when he hit the ground, he rolled off. He didn't
Nice.
use all his weight.
And I'm sure Jameis popped up and was fine.
Everything was great.
Everyone's good.
And he got the
And they
award.
shook hands and said, good hit, my good friend.
Well, he
Like,
didn't get the
what
sack
is-
either, so he was like, good hit, but I got the ball off.
Yeah, he helped him up. He said, "Are you okay? I hope everything's fine. Everything good."
And he got a
All right.
check.
Adjust your flags.
Right. Yeah,
Adjust your
Jarrett is
flags.
going to receive a letter from the commissioner, Roger Goodell, and also a donation to the school or charity of his
We
choice.
gave him his flags back. You see that? He said, "Here are your flags back." There they go. Here are your flags.
Speaking of
trying to
flags, let's
preserve
hope we
the
don't
players.
see very
That's right.
many of them on Saturday as Wild Card Weekend kicks off.
This is what we live for right here. This is what we live for.